Thank you for my life. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for jobs. Thank you for businesses. Thank you for careers. Thank you for mentors. Thank you for coaches. Thank you for opportunities. Thank you. Good evening. Woo-hoo! Good evening. Welcome to another live stream of Rex, Yap, and Shackled. Tonight, I'm very excited because we will be talking about something that's really close to my heart. And this is about entrepreneurship, about business. And for those who missed the first, which was about mental health, welcome. Mabuhay po kayo. You may wonder why Unshackled, Rex, Yap, Unshackled. It is because in the past 3 years, I have realized and let go of so many limiting beliefs that stopped me from doing the purpose of my life, which is I am a force for good. I will experience daily the abundance of joy and do compelling learning experiences for myself and others. That is the purpose of my life. And I am free. And by the way, I'm doing this because this is my way of paying forward and honoring my teachers, especially my parents, who were my first teachers, my mentors and coaches in the business, in my life as well. Without them, my life would have been completely different. So tonight's topic, PinoyPRENEURSHIP, has something to do with my advocacy, which is proper stewardship through financial literacy. So the first assignment for tonight, because this is the book that changed my perspective about money, about financial stuff, is this. If you haven't, you should go and grab a copy. Go to, I think this is available sa lahat ng library dito sa New Zealand. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This changed the way I look at money, my relationship with my financial life, you know. So you have to grab a copy and read about this. Okay, if there's one book that I would like you to read about finance, this will be the one, Personal Finance. So for us here in New Zealand, we are so lucky kasi New Zealand has been judged as one of the best countries to start a business in terms of ease and transparency. And you know what? Ito pa, marami akong mga successful Filipinos na nandito sa New Zealand who have all sorts of businesses, who are happy to share their interests. Okay. It looks like the broadcast was deleted on Facebook to stream. Gino, are you still with me? Are you still with me? Am I live? Kasi right now, there's a comment from, hi Marlon, can you comment if I'm live? Can you see me? Hello? Can anyone give some comment if I'm live sa Facebook stream? Yes, I am. Oh, Susie, thanks for joining me. My brother in Cebu City, Marlon. Okay, that was strange. There was a note from Facebook that it has deleted the live stream. Hi, my sister from Perth. Yay! Loud and clear. Thank you so much. Again, going back to New Zealand, we are so lucky kasi yun na nga, the ease of doing business in New Zealand, we're #1 in the world. So easy to try to start a business here in New Zealand. And there are so many members in our community who are happy to share with them their experience. So you don't have to do it alone. So how to really learn from this 1 hour. Okay, well, this is a jam-packed 1 hour live stream. And I'm so happy to have a guest who's really knowledgeable about what he does. And he's happy to help you as well. Later, I'll call him in. So how to really learn, interact with us, take notes. That will drive in the learning. Learn it as, learn it enough to be able to teach it. Message us, comment. We will try to answer them as much as we can. Like this page. Tell your friends about us. Okay. So, ito na, ang first secret for the night na I would like to tell you. Okay. The key to success in employment, career, business is having a mindset of Let me see. Ano bang comment ninyo? What do you think? Actually, it's the mindset of stewardship. Stewardship simply is lahat ng binigay sa atin, lahat that we have, time, money, resources, treasure, even relationships, these are all gifts to us that we need to improve, we need to nurture. If we have this sort of mentality and mindset, we cannot but be successful, we cannot but be happy. What do I mean by that? Okay, I think this will be easier explained in our languages in Filipino. Like for the Cebuano, this is pinayalan. Pinayalan meaning something is entrusted to you and you have to take care of that. And I like the Tagalog word for it because it has a deeper connotation. Tayong lahat ay katiwala. And there's an element of trust kasi tiwala. If something is entrusted to you, you are accountable for that. So we are here for a reason. So everything that we have, everything that we possess, everything, tayo ay stewards lang. Even the business, yung may mga businesses na, steward lang kayo. We're not staying here forever. In the end, either you'll pass it on, it will stop with you. But we are all stewards. Okay? To ensure your success in any endeavor, employment man, career, business, you should have a mindset of stewardship. Okay? So, one other thing is, all of us need a teacher. I will not be here doing this if I didn't have a teacher early on in my life. And again, I would like to honor, how do you say that? Gusto kong pasalamatan lahat na naging teacher ko, naging mentor ko, naging coach ko. Even now, my favorite mentor right now is Tony Robbins. O, di ba? Okay, but true, even in my business in Cebu, I wouldn't have attained that success kung wala yung mga taong tumulong sa akin. Even in New Zealand, when I first arrived here, there's Dave Hale. I knew nothing about home loans, but Dave Hale took me, taught me, mentored me, molded me, and so thankful for that. Okay, so let's go straight away. Yung iba may idea na sila gusto mag-business. Paano nga ba mag-start? Okay? Kasi yung iba habi-habi lang, di ba? Lalo na ngayon, uso yung tanim, uso yung plants. Yung iba nag-iisip na gawing negosyo. So let me help you with that. Ito kasing let us identify your passion. Kasi if you're doing something in accordance with your passion, hindi siya trabaho, hindi siya negosyo eh. Parang naglalaro ka lang, you're happy doing it. Okay? So actually, you can identify your passion by doing this. Simple test. Passion is equal to skill plus interest. Yung interest mo, kung ano yung interesado ka. Kasi kung skill lang, anong tawag dyan? Trabaho lang, job lang. Okay? Pag interest naman, anong tawag dyan? Hobby lang. Di ba? Pero pag nagtugma yung dalawa, yung skill and interest mo, yun ang tinatawag na passion. Now, if you can find something that you are passionate about and there's a need in the market for that, go for it. Okay? Go for it. That could be a very good business for you to start with. All right. Now, let me ask you this. Ano yung pinakamalaking balakid for you to start a business? Kasi may identify ka ng passion. Tapos mayroon namang pangangailangan talaga sa market. May mga tao nangingailangan doon. So, what's the biggest block for you to start a business? Give us your comment. I'll read those later. But for me, ang palagi kong naririnig ay dahil walang puhunan. Now, that's interesting. Kasi, ang pagiging walang puhunan, in my experience, has never been a problem. It could be a challenge, but never a problem. Kasi if you have the right mindset, you have the right business idea, may market ka, let me tell you this, resourcefulness beats resource every single time. That's based on my experience. Okay, I'll tell you a story. When my cousin and I started our business in the Philippines, we were one of the pioneers of mga telecommunication gadgets and mga prepaid cards. During this time when nagsa-start pa lang yung Globe at Smart, for example, kami yung distributor sa Mindanao, Visayas, and Mindanao. That was a big area. We started with just what? 3,000 pesos? That's $100 here in New Zealand. Just to be able to open an account. And in 2-3 years time, it was a big business. I'm not telling you to brag, but I'm telling you na it's not really about the puhunan. Kasi kung tama yung idea mo, tama yung mga mindset mo, things will just follow. A lot, lalo na ngayon. Digital age, ang daming gusto mag-invest if you have the right idea and the market is there. Because what is actually a business? A business is actually finding a way to meet people's needs, di ba? Yun lang naman. Tapos you have the market, then you have a business pag nagtakbo yung dalawa. Okay. Here goes the warning again from Facebook. Am I still live? Yep, we're good. Am I still live? We're good. Yep, give me some feedback. Susie, are we still good? Am I still live? Because Facebook is telling me I'm not live. Hello? Anyone can give a feedback, please? Yes, you are. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Okay. Let me just go back there. But the thing with having a business is actually, ito yun. Have a higher purpose. Have a higher purpose. It should be beyond what your personal needs are. So I went to Amsterdam, for example, last year, and the first thing that was asked of me in that business mastery seminar, it was a 7-day, a very good one. I was asked, what business are you in? So sabi ko, home loans and insurance, kasi that's what business I'm in. I thought, New Zealand Home Loans franchisee ako ng New Zealand Home Loans sa North Coast. Okay? Nung tinanong ako ulit, no. That's the product or service that you're providing. But what business are you really in? And that made me think really hard. And then I came up, I was guided. I discerned the purpose of, what business I was really in. And that is, I'm in the business of helping families to be empowered. Empowering families to be great with their finances. And for me, that resonates. So when I do my business now, that is the mindset that I have. I will help this family to be empowered to be good with their finances. So like for example, yung mga restaurants halimbawa, kasi marami akong mga friends na mga pagkain na negosyo dito sa New Zealand. Okay, they talk to me. Nagtatanong din ako sa kanila. So pag kung tinatanong sa kanila, anong business kayo? Sinasabi nila, restaurant, di ba? Or pagkain. But if you find that higher purpose in your business, you'll be in a much higher position. You'll be doing better, so much better. Okay. So one other thing that I would like to share with you, this is really applicable for those na may existing business na. Again, before I proceed, let me just get some comment from those who are making some comments. Saan kayo nanonood? Sa Rex Yap or sa Rex Shop Unshackled? Please give me some feedback. Okay, so let's just proceed. I think, yep, okay. So for those na mag-watch party na lang kayo. I'll just proceed, ha? Okay. So for those na may business na, ang karamihan kasi sa atin, we tend to focus on things that we are good at or we're happy to do with. Like for example, restaurants. Syempre, karamihan na nag-start ng negosyo na yan, yung magaling magluto. And they forget to focus on all the other things, which are equally important. It can only be sustainable if tutukan mo itong lahat. Okay? So ano ito? Tingnan nyo to. These are the areas that need to be constantly, proactively monitored kung may negosyo na kayo. Sales, marketing, finance, accounting, operations, production, human resource, logistics. The thing is, wala namang business na pareho-pareho. Iba-iba talaga yan. But these are the basic areas. Once makaligtaan mong sikasuhin ang any of this, either number one, pagod na pagod ka na, wala pa rin kita. Yung taxes mo ay sobra-sobra malaki or hahabuli ka ng IRD. Okay? Yung mga tao mo, aalisan ka na. Yung pagkain mo, tinitipid mo na, nagagalit na yung customer mo. You really have to do this. Hindi ito optional. Kung may business na kayo, you have to focus on this. Sales, marketing, finance, accounting, operations, production, human resource, logistics. Ulitin ko ulit yan. One more time. Okay, take note of this. Yung may mga negosyo na, pag hindi nyo ginagawa ang either of this, something will get. Ito yung mga weakest link. Yung iba, akala la, okay, masarap yung pagkain. Hindi naman na market. Hindi naman nagko-consult sa mga accountants on how to go about the taxes, on how about yung pricing nila. Hindi nila alam yung break even point. Hindi alam yung mga costing na yan. Para mga sari-sari store lang, walang differentiation. Okay, you really have to do this. Later, I'll give you my email address. Itong panauhin natin, I'll give you the email address as well so you can contact us anytime. Oh, wow. That's a quarter of our live stream. It's already 8:15. Okay. So, one more thing. Before ko tawagin itong yung panauhin natin, our guest, he's a really good guy. One other thing. Alam mo, nung pumunta akong Amsterdam, I mentioned earlier, yung June last year, business mastery ang tawag, I met 3 inspiring young guys, Dutch, mga taga-Amsterdam sila, age 26, 27, and 28. Ganun kabata. Alam mo ang business nila? Wala silang puhunan din eh. So, don't give me that excuse na mayroon akong passion, mayroon akong idea, ganda-ganda, makakatulong sa maraming tao. Hindi ko kayang gawin kasi wala akong puhunan. Listen to this. Itong 3 kasama namin sa grupo, kasi we were grouped into 6 eh. And then we discussed whatever business we were in. Tinitingnan namin yung process nila. Sila tumitingin din sa amin and we saw a lot. Iba talaga pag iba nakatingin sa negosyo mo. Okay? So, they were in a business of providing bikes. Bike subscription. Can you imagine that? Kasi sa Amsterdam, walang halos sasakyan eh. Puro sila nakabike. Pati yung 82 years old, nagbabike. Now, ang problema na doon, kung nakawin, nasira, na-flat, or whatever reason, hindi available ang bike, patay na sila. Hindi sila makakapunta sa gusto ng putahan. So, itong 3 bata, they saw the need. 3 years ago, they started a bike subscription business. Ganun lang kasimple, ano? $40 every month, they will provide bikes. And if you call them for whatever reason, hindi available yung bike mo kasi nasira, na-flat, ninakaw, etc. In 30 minutes, a new bike will be provided to you. $40 a month and $80 kung electronic or electric bike. Ay, may side story ako dyan. Yung electric bike nila, alam nyo kung saan gawa? Pilipinas. And they're so happy with the quality. When they learned that I'm originally from the Philippines, they were so happy, like, oh, we're happy with the electric bikes. So matotal, after 3 years, ang gross nila is $30 million. And they have since expanded to Switzerland and Germany. Amazing, amazing story of 3 young guys who were so passionate about an idea na hindi na inisip yung wala silang puhunan, wala silang experience, ganon-ganon. They just saw the market, they checked around, and then they did a business study. Importante rin yan, ha? Business study. Okay, later, pag-usapan natin sa panauhin yan. So, if you have something passionate about, you have a higher purpose, go for it. Go for it. Pag wala kayong kausapin nyo ako. Baka makatulong pa ako, di ba? All right. So, with that, I would like to call in a very competent chartered accountant. Isa siyang batang-batang Pinoy. I met him through, initially, nag-email siya sa akin. There was a client na he was wanting to help to purchase a property. So, yun naging start. And then I asked about his advocacy. Ayun na, nagkatugma yung advocacy namin. Basically, to help our community, to inspire our community. He's also into investing. In fact, at his young age, ha? Pero hindi na siya available. Sorry, ladies. Hindi pa naman kasal, pero he's committed to someone. He already, at his young age, late 20s, 3 investment properties. Okay, so I'm happy to introduce to you a guest na merong pangalan na medyo artistahin. O, di ba? Please, friends, i-welcome natin si my good friend, chartered accountant, as I mentioned here in New Zealand, si Gino Antonino. Hi, Gino.
Hello.
Kumusta? Woo! Oops,
Hello.
oops, naibot. All right. Kumusta? How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, thank you for showing up. I know na medyo you were under the weather for a couple of days, tapos gumaling ka just for this live stream. Thank you. Okay. But really, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling a lot better. Yeah.
A lot better. Pag napansin nyo yung accent ni Gino, dito na kasi lumaki yan eh. He'll try his best Tagalog. And tell us something about yourself, Gino. Just a short background.
Well, I grew up in the Philippines, actually, mainly Manila, until I was 14. Then I moved here with my dad. I've been here for 12 years now, which is almost as long as I was in the Philippines. So
that's really good.
Yeah, I work as a chartered accountant, as you've said, and in my day-to-day, I help a lot of small businesses specifically, and that's my passion.
Very good. Very good.
To help a lot of small businesses to grow and do it the right way from the very start, which is, I think, is important.
Napansin nyo ba, the moment he mentioned na he's helping small businesses dito, parang nag-light up yung mata niya, parang naging, alam mo yun, ang passion niya. But let me ask you first, before we go into the details, what triggered, or ano yung pasimuno? Ba't ka naging interested sa, for example, into investing, into financial literacy? Was it your mother, father? Was it something that you read?
Well, it's more going through my studies. So when I was studying, I was really interested about businesses, mostly the really big ones like Microsoft, at the time Zero, and seeing those businesses grow to what they are now. You know, Microsoft is almost $1 trillion company. Seeing that in 1980s that they were started by 3 people, and just now they're taking over the world. So it's just something that fascinated me really. And because I know that at the same time, I wanted to be a part of that as well and be able to help people. And yeah.
Yep. I think Gino, yun talaga nakikita ko ngayon, no? At sa panahon ninyo, hindi naman ako ganoon katanda. Parang 5 years lang naman ang agwat natin eh. Okay. I think that's really a good business to look into. Yung subscription business, no? Yung sa IT na ganoon. Like yung bike, hindi nga IT yun eh, pero still, subscription business, monthly income na ganoon. So tonight, you are here for a reason kasi ito yung expertise mo. And a lot of people have already approached me. Like, where do I really start? Okay, so let's go straight in kasi we're what 8:20 already. So how to start a business? Like, what are the different structures that you can put a business in?
So in terms of structures, so you can have it basically as a sole trader, which just means na nasa pangalan nyo lang po. Ito po, nagtatagalog ako
Well done. All right.
So just under your own name. So you don't even have to do anything. You can just start selling if you want to tomorrow, if you really want to. If you have a product, you can just sell it, and that's it.
Wow, ganun kadali.
Ganun po kadali.
Right.
And you can also, if you have someone you work with, maybe your husband, your wife, sister, brother, parents, whatever, pwede rin po siyang partnership. Okay, kaibigan, the friend. Pwede rin siyang partnership, which just means that you are working with someone else. It doesn't have to be just one person. It can be a lot of other people. But at the same time, you're then splitting the business up into however many you are.
Okay.
So that's another one. There's also, of course, what's more commonly known as a company, which is just a collection of people that's running the business at the same time and doing it. And there's different pros and cons about all of them.
Yes, I was about to ask. Yeah, tell us about that. Kasi dapat naman kala pare-pareho lang lahat yan eh. Okay, go.
So, sole trader is the easiest way. So, as I said, kung gusto nyo, you can do it tomorrow with nothing. You don't have to do anything. You can just sell tomorrow and it's fine. But the problem with that, with being a sole trader, is that if there's ever a problem, it goes back to you. So kung may nagreklamo sa inyo, it goes back to you because you're the person selling, or if you know.
Yes.
Yeah. If your product breaks, you're the one responsible for it.
Okay.
With the partnership, it's the same thing. You can start at any time. Usually there's what's called a partnership agreement, which just says that this is how your partnership is divided, and this is how your business is divided, and who owns what, and where the money goes, essentially, or the profit.
Yeah, that's partnership. Okay.
Yeah. With a company, which is commonly known as having limited liability, which means that it is a separate legal entity to you, which means that it's separate from you. Hindi na ikaw yun. So yeah.
Kasi sa personal experience ko, Gino, lalo na sa partnership involving company, involving friends, family, pag hindi tama ang pagkagawa, could be a source of could be a source of conflict, and tuloy yung magkakaibigan, nag-aaway na tuloy, magkakapatid, papatayan pa sa atin minsan sa Philippines. So what are what are the things na kung papasok sila sa partnership or like company na involving other people, what are the things that they need to look at to prepare para maibawasan yung mga ganyan? Me personally, I have a very sad experience. So kaya ako pag may tatanong sa akin, ang bias ko palagi is mag-solve ka na lang, but I understand. Katulad ng sinabi mo, mga pitfalls din eh. So what are the things that they should be careful and aware pag it involves other people, lalo na pag mga close sa'yo?
Apo. Lagi naman po, with everything, when you're working with other people, there might be different personalities that you have to deal with at all times. So usually it's recommended to have, if it's going to be a partnership agreement, setting out what responsibilities of each person is, and also how each person is each person is in control of. So whether they're making decisions about marketing, they're making decisions about the operations of the company, they're making decisions about sales, accounting, finance,
they have to,
anything. Yeah, it's good to have a separation of them.
Yes, from the very beginning they have to know. Tapos alam ko katulad ng ginawa namin, pero after the fact, may hidwaan na may exit strategy. Na if one wants to bail out, di ba? May mga ganon. So you're saying number one, you have to delineate the functions, yung mga areas na sinabi ko kanina, di ba? Number two, may exit strategy na if one wants to bail out, ganito ibabayad mo sa akin. You have to agree on certain things. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's really good. Okay. What about company? Anong dapat bantayan?
Companies po, it's a bit different because each person would own a part of the company based on their shareholding. Okay. Which is also decided at the start usually. Although kung gusto nyong sabihin yung you want to take over a bigger part of the company, usually you have to pay the other shareholders to do so. Because at the end of the day, your profit is based on the amount of shares that you have.
By the way, itong pinag-usapan namin ni Gino, some of this are applicable only sa New Zealand. So baka kasi we have some some, how do you say that, listeners or viewers na wala dito sa New Zealand eh. May taga-Australia, nakikita ko, may taga-Cebu. Wow, may taga-US pa. Oh, thank you so much guys for joining us. Wow. Okay, 27 minutes, halfway na. This will be too short. And then we'll go fast. So anyway, some of this will not be applicable to your area, but for most parts, I think may mga basic ideas naman na applicable pa rin. So again, sole proprietorship, partnership, company, lahat yan may mga disadvantages. So but then it will be good to know what you are entering into. Lalo na pag careful kayo pag partnership or company, lalo na pag kasama mo, mga close mo sa buhay, because it might end up differently kung di tama ang pagka-handle. All right. So let's go to costs associated with starting a business like name reservation and company registration. What are the costs associated with doing business in New Zealand?
So New Zealand is known to be one of the cheapest countries in the world to start a business, actually, because sabi ko nga po, pag sole proprietorship, you can start tomorrow. You don't actually have to do anything because New Zealand, there's separation between legal name and trading name. Trading name is just anything that, as long as it's available, if you can use it, you can start using it straight away. For example, Rex Yap, if you want to call yourself, or if you start a restaurant, you can call it Yaps.
Gino, let me interrupt you. I'll give you a real example. Like our company's name is actually Financial Stewards Limited.
Yeah.
And then we are trading as New Zealand Home Loans Northcote. Yan, example yan, di ba? Okay. Yes. Say, go ahead.
Yes. For that, if it's something simple, you don't really have to register anything. Of course, sometimes there's the difficulty with that. Sometimes there's a conflict because someone can just start another business and call them realistically the same name. Kung wala kayong protection dun sa, because it's gonna be your brand in the future, right?
So you have to reserve that. You have to pay for that.
Yes. So that's when you have to start paying. What you can do either there's two ways to do it. You can just incorporate a company with the name, so that you reserve the legal name with the company's office, or you put a trademark across for the trading name that you have, so that no one else but you can use it, or no one else that you don't want to use it can use it.
Okay, let me just, for those who just joined us or hindi nakafollow masyado, what you're saying is pwede ka ring mag-sole trader, kaya lang ang danger doon is pag nag-click na yung business mo under that name, pag hindi mo protect yan, dahil pwede ka namang magnegosyo kahit walang registration or anything, pwedeng gamitin ng ibang tao. Not unless you register it. Okay, that's the one. Thank you. That's really good. So again, walang balakid na naman ulit yung walang puhunan, walang pang signage, walang pang start. You can start a business in New Zealand anytime. Like, wow, thank you. Now, let's go straight away to business fundamentals. So you mentioned may na-identify kang need or may passion ka na na-identify. Paano malaman ngayon kung may nangingailangan ba? So you need to do what? Market research, you said.
Yeah, market research. So, lahat naman po pwede mag-offer ng services. Let's say that, I want to fix cars. Pero po, kung sabihin yung, if you're in a market that already has 10 mechanics or in your neighborhood which has 10 mechanics already, then it's likely that your business will take off unless magaling ka talaga. Kasi po, it's too much competition.
So
if you do market research and one, if there's demand for the services that you're providing or the goods and services that you're providing, and two, what the competition is, it works out a lot better for you. Kasi po, alam niyo yung market nyo. So, alam niyo na kung anong gagawin nyo, paano kayo mag-act, and you can build your business strategy around what the market that you're targeting.
So, this could be actually part of a business plan. So, business planning is actually really important.
Yes.
Like kami, when we started a business, I was so fortunate back in Cebu na, ang mentor ko was a biggie in terms of business planning. So before we started, like he said, start small, think big, and already prepare for what's to come. So when the opportunity came, ready na kami. Okay, now you mentioned another business fundamental is, ito yung pitfall ngayon ng karamihan mga businesses, lalo na pagkaka-start pa lang. Kasi kalala, busy kami, laki ng kita, pagkwenta, lugi pala. Tell me about cash flow.
So cash flow, basically, kung yung pong the difference between money in and money out. That's the really, really basic concept of it. So kailangan nyo you have to know how much money is going to come in, or realistically how much money is going to come in versus how much money is going to come out, so that you can plan if you have expenses coming up in the future. So kunwari po, if you started a restaurant business, kung kailangan yung bumili ng ingredients, or you have to pay your rent or your power, because you have to pay them.
So you're talking about cash flow projections, no?
Yeah. If kung wala kayong cash, then you can't pay them.
Cash kasi, i-whisper ko lang sa kanila, cash kasi is the lifeblood of your business. Pag walang cash, manarado ka na.
And kahit anong laki ng profit nyo, as it shows in the financial statements, kung walang cash sa bangko, wala rin.
Kasi kung profit, lang yun, guni-guni lang yun. Inimagine lang na accountant. Sorry, Gino. yung cash yun talaga yun . Kasi profit can be expressed in so many ways, right? May mga retained profits pa kayo kung ano-anong sinasabi ng accountant. Pero in real terms, like ako, negosyante ako, pag nakita ko yung cash, ito yung real. Ito yung totoo. Okay. So, what about risk mitigation?
So risk mitigation is you have to know it depends on really what your business is, right? So pag po, that's just me saying that, if you're running a restaurant, what's the risk of another business opening up next to you that's selling the same food? Or even what's the risk of you running out of ingredients, or what's the risk of your staff not showing up, or you getting sick, and those kind of things.
Nako. Construction yan, Like, lalo na yung involved sa construction, may mga, ang tawag dito, mga delay, may mga penalties yan sila. I'm mentioning that because one active listener commenting right now, actually, siya parang jib board, siya dito active siya sa Auckland. He's going I'm happy for him to be here. Kasi alam ko na concern minsan yon. Minsan, pag hindi sumisipot yung mga tao niya, mampapilo yung mga paputi, hindi sumisipot for whatever reason, siya mismo gumagawa. What if siya mismo hindi rin available o masakit? Paano yun? Ito yung sinasabi mo ngayon, right?
Yeah. You have to have a backup plan usually.
You have to have a backup plan. How many backup plans should you have, Gino? One?
Usually one. Pero po, if you as many backup plans or contingency plans as you can have, the better.
Yeah, and this is precisely the reason Yes, sorry. This is precisely the reason why I recommend to people, lalo na yung business nila is medyo teenager na, hindi yung startup stage pa lang. You, or even for those who are starting, you should have a coach. Yes. You should have a coach or a mentor even. Just a mentor pwede na rin. Kasi iba yung nakatingin sa overall perspective eh. Kasi karamihan ng focus ng, ito pala. Let me just differentiate yung entrepreneur at saka yung businessman. Entrepreneur actually is, siya yung innovator. Nag-introduce ng something new, whether service or something new approach sa isang negosyo. And he or she may not be the best business person to run it. Once nandiyan na yung negosyo, it would be good to get a real manager na magaling sa may mga skills na ganoon. Kasi karamihan sa mga entrepreneur o yung nagsa-start ng business, tinututukan lang nila yung saan sila magaling, saan sila nasisiyahan. Okay? Tapos yun na nga, wala ng cash flow, yung risk hindi na nakikita, yung mga tao wala na, hindi na sumisipot kasi hindi na pala naaasikaso, wala nang motivation. So tama yung sinabi mo, risk mitigation not only in terms of financial and physical side of things, but overall talaga ng business, right? Para pag pumalpak ito, hindi na pumalpak, but something goes wrong, then you can do something else. Tama?
Yes.
And that could apply to any business.
That applies to every business.
Okay, yes. Sige. Kasi I can see that a couple of people who are here may mga restaurant business. Okay. Ano sa tingin mo ang mga risks sa business ng restaurant or restaurant business na dapat nilang i-mitigate?
Pinakamalaki po, I think, for restaurant the industry is competition.
Competition, okay.
Yeah. Kasi po, if you think about it, with the restaurant business, there's little barriers to entry. So, if I'm going to start a restaurant, if I have the capital to do it, I can just start a restaurant. Of course, you need to make good food and you need to do this, but you don't need a license. You need health and safety licenses.
Yes.
You don't like it, as opposed to if you're an accountant like me, or if you're a lawyer, or if you're a financial advisor, you need specific licenses to be able to practice them.
Yes.
For a restaurant or a cafe or something along those lines, there's not that much that you have to go through.
So it's even easier.
It's easy, yeah. It's hard to succeed, pero it's easy to get in.
Parang mas simple ang process niya pag restaurant. So depende rin talaga, no? But in any experience naman natin, I think kahit na malayo yung restaurant, kahit na medyo okay yung presyo, but they offer something na really good, we still go, right? Yeah. So if you have something different, that's one other thing that I learned, Gin, dapat mayroon kang unique selling proposition. Kasi kung pare-pareho lang lahat, parang sari-sari store sa atin sa Philippines, yung magkakapit-bahay, puro may sari-sari store. Minsan, nagbabarter na lang, di ba? So tama ka. Okay, so business fundamentals, market research, cash flow, risk mitigation. Itong third topic natin, this is something na a lot of our kababayan, mapa New Zealand man or saan man sa Pilipinas o saan, they don't really give much thought about it. Okay, dito sa New Zealand halimbawa, meron kaming kakilala, may mga clients kami, I'm sure mayroon kaming makikilala, may say 2-3 property. And sometimes nung nagre-review na kami, nakita ko they don't treat it like a business. Well, in fact, it's a business. Yung hindi tama yung structure, etc., etc. Now, let's talk about tax basics. Itong nakikinig sa atin ngayon, I'm sure they will learn a lot from you. Okay, so when do you pay income tax?
So you're liable to pay income tax in New Zealand if your taxable activity is above $200, which is not that much.
Okay.
So taxable activity
above
means
$200.
Yes, which is revenue, not profit. So kung yung kinikita nyo po as in sales or services that you provide is above $200, then you have to pay tax.
Do they need somebody like you to file a tax for them on their behalf, or pwedeng sila lang?
No. So in terms of filing it, no. Syempre may there are advantages in hiring a professional to do it. If I can go and tell you, but I think I'll leave that kasi po parang selfish naman eh.
Pero, no, I mean, that's all right. Kasi is there a level of revenue na sabihin mo, alam ko, parang ballpark figure lang na sabihin mo na they need to approach you na or some tax professionals?
I would say when your revenue reaches around 60,000, which
Per
is
annum,
when
yep.
you which is when you have to register for GST. Things get a little bit more complicated. I mean, you can still do it. Kung alam niyo naman po gagawin, then why not? But then at the same time, it goes back to what you're saying before. Na, if you're taking your time to do your tax, or you're taking your time to look at that accounting or tax side of the business, then you're taking time away from doing other things.
Okay, let me interrupt you, Gina. May tanong lang dito. $200 above per week? Now, this is per annum eh.
No. Yes.
200 per annum. Leslie, hi Leslie. Thanks for your question, Les. Yeah, it's $200 per annum. So, dali lang talaga. Pero still, pag i-compute mo naman yung mga expenses mo, and this is one thing about being informed about business, kasi there are so many things that you can declare as an expense. Diba? Kasi if you're doing business, may expense ka talaga. So what are the things na pwede mo i-claim as expense?
So in general po, it has to be related to what you're doing, or how you're making the money, how you're making the sales. So for example, if you're running a restaurant, that could be your rent for your restaurant, your power, your water, or if you're, say, working as an accountant like me, or if you're just working as an accountant and you don't have an office, pwede rin po yung the mileage on your car. If you have a home office, it would count too. Or if you're even you're subscribing for internet, mobile phone, your personal mobile phone, if you use it for business, that's all would be deductible, a portion of it anyway.
Okay, Gino, tatagalogin ko ito ha, for a reason. Biro lang. Okay. Kasi like may mga kaibigan ako, may mga home-based business. Di ba may mga part ng expenses nila sa bahay na pwede lang i-claim? How do they go about it?
So, you're referring po sa home office claim?
Yes.
Which is based on dun sa laki ng realistically ng area na ginagamit nyo sa bahay compared to the total size of your house. So for example, kung sinukat nyo na 10 meters squared yung office nyo sa bahay, or not even just an office, your workspace in your house that you use for business, versus 100 meters squared na total yung total area ng bahay nyo, then you can claim 10% of all of the expenses that you have for your house, which means rent, power, water, any other utilities, internet, if you own the house, mortgage interest, insurance, home and contents, and repairs and maintenance.
Ayan mga kabayan, kung mayroon kayong home office, yun palang pwede gamitin, but you have to do it right. Okay?
Yes.
Kasi may mga, alam ko, may mga rental businesses yung iba na talagang 3-4 na, they really have to have a space naman talaga to work on it and stuff like that. So there are things that they can actually claim. Okay.
Yes.
Like, for example, one practical question, for example, dito nakikita ko. Like, you know, the fuel that you spend para mag-check ng mga rental properties mo, of course, you can charge that, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's really good. Let's proceed, ha? Do I need to keep receipts? Do I need, as a businessman? Why is that?
You have to, because at any point, the IRD, which is the tax agency in New Zealand, can ask for proof of what your income, or the income that you're claiming, and all of the expenses that you're claiming.
Okay.
They have the authority to do that. So you have to be able to prove na kung ano yung kiniklaim nyo is correct and tama.
Okay, so for how many years do you have to keep your receipts?
7 years.
7 years. After that, you can throw them away. Okay. What about provisional taxes? Ang daming taxes, provisional tax.
So provisional tax just means that you're prepaying, or you're paying in advance tax that you owe for the year. So for example, this year we are in the 2021 tax year, which goes from April 2020 to March 2021. Right? So normally how it would work is that after the year, after March 2021, you look at your profit and then you go, okay, this is the amount of tax I need to pay. Let's say I have to pay $10,000 for the year. But what the IRD says is that okay, actually, you would have earned that, or you owed us the $10,000 throughout the year because you would have been making profit at each point of the year and not just the end of it. So you have to make payments throughout the year instead, as of the end of it.
Okay. So in a way that will make things easier, no? Hindi mo na alalahanin masyado kasi meron ng okay.
Yeah.
So okay, I understand minsan for those na walang accountant halimbawa, this could be a concern.
Yes.
And talk about due dates and extension of time. Would you like to tell us more about that?
Sure. So normally, if you don't have an accountant, you don't have extension of time unless you talk to the IRD or you specifically requested it. Hindi po siya automatic na ginagrant. So the due date to file your tax return is on the 7th of July, which is already passed. 7th of July. But if you have, and your terminal tax is due, terminal tax meaning that the final tax that you pay for the year
talaga, yes,
is due in February. So if you have an accountant who can then give you extension of time, it moves your filing date from 7th of July to 31st March of the next year. So you have one whole year to file your tax return. And also it moves the payment date from February to April.
Okay. So that gives you a couple of time. Yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. Is there I'm not particularly referring to you. So may agreed ba kayo na sa mga chartered accountants or people doing tax returns, may agreed ba kayong range ng price for your service or depende lang talaga sa like per hour?
Yeah, depende rin po talaga. Because it's usually based on yung overheads namin. Of course, if you're going to the really, really big companies like PwC or Deloitte or Ernst & Young, they're going to charge you a lot. Because, they work in the middle of the city. They have a really big office, a really nice office.
Pero kung sa'yo lalapit, Pinoy pa, may discount, di ba? Then I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Why not po? At the end of the day, I want to help. I want to help businessmen, not just Filipinos in general, but everyone as much as I can. So what do you
charge for initial assessment or initial consultation with you?
I give a free 1-hour session.
There you go. I'd avail of that. Avail of that, mates. Okay. So ito yung question. Yeah, last question regarding sa tax basics kasi pinag-usapan natin. We have talked about income tax, kailan ka mag-start, yung GST registration, dapat pala 60K. Maka-income ka ng 60K per annum, dapat mag-register ka ng GST. The expenses you can claim. Just one very short question. Yung like rental property, wala kang maintenance guy. Ikaw yung gumagawa ng gripo, ikaw yung gumagawa ng mga little maintenance. Can you charge your time for that?
No.
Bakit?
No.
Kaysa mag-hire ka ng tao.
Hindi po.
Hindi allowed.
No. So, kung ano lang po yung yeah, unfortunately, medyo maigpit po yung IRD sa ganon. So,
naghanap pa ng pagdagdag ng deduction no?
You can only deduct yung binayad nyo talaga.
So I have encountered a couple of my friends, not necessarily clients of all of them. Hindi naman lahat clients na ang sinasabi ko. Mayroon kami clients, may 2-3 property na. And then when we do reviews, kasi we do regular reviews sa mga clients namin, nung nakikita namin yung accounts nila, nagkabulbul ang personal at saka yung rental income, gano'n. So that's one thing that we want to avoid, right?
Yeah.
May tanong dito si Jody. Hi, Jody. Sorry, Gino, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just reading her question po.
Yeah.
Or him question.
What I'll do is I can put that there.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have rented property and something needs to be fixed, does it all need to be done by licensed handyman to get receipts to claim expense?
No, it doesn't. So pero po, you have to be invoiced. So dapat po mayroong invoice from the person that's doing the repairs or maintenance in your property. And at the same time, kung sino man po yung nag-invoice, if it's your friend or something like that, they have to report whatever you pay them as income anyway. So, ganun din po. It's the same.
Okay. One question here. Could you please, kasi before I ask you the last question, can you discuss depreciation, please? Yep.
So depreciation is basically just kasi po, if you think about, let's say, a fixed asset like a car, over time po, di ba, naluluma, things break on the car, or nababakbak yung pintura, let's say.
Okay, yeah. That happens, yeah.
Yeah, that happens. So over time po, bumababa yung value ng kotse nyo. Or whatever fixed asset it is. So that's what we call depreciation, which just means the value of your asset over time gets lower. And depending on the type of the asset, you are also allowed a deduction on that if you use it for business purposes.
So pati na yung mga home depreciation din na? Kasi kung may home office ka, can have the share. No?
Kung ano po, let's say you have a home office, bumili kayo ng computer, bumili kayo ng chair. You can claim depreciation on that.
Okay. So it really takes a good professional advice for you to be able to see ano yung pwede, ano hindi pwede. Kasi pag hindi pwede, dito sa, yung mga nanonood sa atin na hindi taga New Zealand, matindi dito. Unlike sa Philippines, bihira lang na bibilanggo. Yung dito, talagang kinukulong. Diba? May manabasa ko before nakulong si ganito, patay tayo. So be very careful with that. It would be good to ask, to seek for professional help, just like anything. Okay. Lastly, for small to medium-sized business, should you consider operating a look-through company?
Yes. So depende rin po yun sa business nyo. It always depends on what you're doing. So that's why, as you said, it's better to have a professional to look at it at the very start.
Yes.
Pero po, just to elaborate a little bit, a look-through company is essentially a company. So it has the benefit of having a limited liability. So separate entities sa inyo. But at the same time, the profits, or for tax purposes, it's invisible. So all of the profits or losses, instead of being taxed under the company, now gets taxed under the shareholders. So let's say it's usually good for businesses that are just starting up, especially on the infancy stage, kasi po that's when you usually have the losses.
Yes. First 2-3 years expected talaga, no?
Yes. So instead po na, just keeping those losses in the company and just staying there, pag po look to company siya, the losses would then be declared under your own name, which can then be offset against your other income. Like for example, if you're still working, you have a salary, and then you can actually get some of your tax back. You can get a tax refund from your.
So that's the purpose of a look-through company. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Hi, Lotus. Ano ko lang yung question niya. We only have 7 minutes? Sabi ko na ba, 1 hour is too short eh. Sige lang, let's make do with the time that we have. Difference between shareholder salary and wage salary.
So shareholder salary po is for shareholders. Okay. So you can only receive them if you're a shareholder in a company. There's usually no tax. There's usually no tax withheld on that. It doesn't mean that it's not taxed, pero you don't pay the tax up front. So for a wage salary, because you have to then declare it to the IRD straight away as soon as you pay it. So 2 days after, you have to then pay PAYE and KiwiSaver and everything.
So the only difference is ang isa hindi ka agad the tax, but that doesn't mean hindi talaga siya matatax eventually. Wage salary is yun. So that's one more reason why you should have businesses, eh? Wala PAYE diretso. Parang yung mga trabahante talaga nauna na hindi ka agad sa tax eh. Sa may kaltas, hindi po nakukuha yung pera mo, may kaltas na. Anyway, I can't believe I'm saying that. But ito, kay Arjoy naman, what if your receipts are too many? For example, your business is a restaurant and you have fast-moving transactions, groceries, etc. Are you still required to keep all of those?
Yes. So, but usually you would have some sort of accounting system, like Xero, MYOB, or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, it helps you to keep those things, to keep the receipts keep all the transactions nice and neat, so that when it comes down to, you know, looking at it, looking at your business performance, hindi naman magulo.
Okay. Pwede itong sagutin natin to, Gino, kay Susie naman. Please discuss, and it may help others regarding till March. What is this? Susie, clarify. We can claim up to. Can you make sense of that question? No.
Sorry, I can't see the question.
Okay, i-flash ko?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Others retail much. Can we claim up to 5K for R&M? Well, that's kind of digging into a little bit. So because of COVID, usually you can only claim, or the normal is that you can only claim repairs and maintenance when it's below $500. So for example, if you have a rental property and let's say you fix the toilet or the bathroom, kung under $500 po siya, automatic pwede niyo siya i-claim. If it's anything above that, you have to decide whether or not it's capital or if it's repairs and maintenance. But because of COVID-19, the government actually changed that for this year. Now it's $5,000. So actually, if you're a business owner, if you buy a car, if it's below $5,000, you can automatically claim it as a deduction against your income.
Okay. Yung okay, itong tanong ni Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Yung plant sa likod ni Kuya Rex, nasa office. Oo na, Bobby. Oo na. Kung pag dinidiligan ko yan, nag-claim ako ng time para magdilig. Per hour ko naman is ganito lang, di ba? Wow, Gino, 1 hour. Look, 8:56. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us? Like in terms of starting a business, in terms of taxes, anything na yung mapakinabangan na mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon?
It's always better to get it right at the start. Kasi if you find out that you have issues in the middle of running the business, it's a lot harder to fix. It's a lot more expensive too.
I think that's always the case, no? An ounce of, ang tawag doon, ounce of prevention is better than a ton of cure. Palaging ganun eh. And kung may sakit sa katawan, doktor. Kung may medyo problema sa accounting, siyempre, punta ka sa accountant. And a lot of, lalo na pa mga new business persons, hindi nila alam kung sinong tatakbuhan. Minsan na-overwhelm sa concerns na negosyo. They are working in the business palagi, not working on the business, di ba? So here's wishing everyone, lalo na yung may existing business, you know, better days ahead. Just be aware of what's keeping you from growing that business. Yung finlash ko kanina, and again, I'm happy to talk with you kung anong mga kailangan ninyo. For free naman yan sa akin. Kay Gino, mayroon siyang 1 hour initial consultation na free. Avail of that. Yung contact details niya nandito sa baba. Alright? In terms of, Gino, before you go, in terms of yung business dito sa New Zealand, is it a good time to start a business now na during COVID times?
If you have a market po and alam nyo na you have a good idea or a good business, then yes, it's actually a really interesting time to start a business. Kasi po, unfortunately, a lot of businesses have failed. So it actually opened up the market, if anything. Kasi po, you know, now everyone is, and especially po, if say you got redundant, then maybe now it's the time to start a business. Yun din po yung minsan, you know, you can find something good out of something bad.
So depende talaga. There's always an opportunity in any situation, no? Once you find that opportunity, passionate ka naman, there's a market, go for it. And we're here. Believe me, there's a lot of successful Filipinos in New Zealand who are only too happy to share with you, to inspire you. Just reach out. With that, Gino, I would like to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Sana kung may matanong sila additional, maybe we can call you again. Because next week, we'll be talking about another aspect of yung business, which is about marketing. In particular, it will be about digital marketing. And title is, What? You don't have a digital presence at this age? Okay. So with that, I would like to thank everyone. Thank you, Gino. Say bye-bye to everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much again. Stay ka muna. I'll talk to you a bit later. Okay. So again, before I go, which is 1 minute na lang from here, franchise. Kasi maraming nagtatanong tungkol sa franchise. Franchise. Ito New Zealand Home Loans na business ko, it's a franchise business. Although the company itself is owned by the government through Kiwi Group Holdings Limited, before binili ng government ang New Zealand Home Loans, franchise ito. So I own one of the franchises. It's good dahil nandun na yung process, nandun na yung market, parang plug and play, I can operate it. There are some limitations because you cannot do your own thing kasi within the franchise. Although, may mga franchise na dapat pag-aralan mo rin talaga. Not because na my franchise, ibig sabihin magandang product na yan, magandang service na yan. You really have to do your due diligence. Marami kaming kakilala na medyo naiyak-iyak rin talaga. I'm not saying it's of their own making. Pero unang-una, first time nag-business, hindi nila alam yung pinapasukan nila. So if you're doing any business, it's good to start right at the very beginning, as Gino said. Consult anyone na may nagkapa-business na. Huwag ka ma-discourage kung may devil's advocate dyan kasi it's a good thing to remind you na hindi lahat ay bed of roses pag may negosyo ka. Okay? You know, that's I know that's a lot to take in. So if you need more information or should you need help, please contact us. My personal email is at this time is rexyap@gmail.com. It will be soon replaced by rexyap@unshackled.com. Okay? Or tawagan nyo si Gino. Before I would say goodbye, I would like to invite everyone for next week's live stream. And this time it will be about digital marketing, digital presence. And I'm so thankful sa Unshackled team ko, Jason and Kath. Thank you so much. I will not be able to do this without my team. And to our sponsor, New Zealand Home Loans Northcote, for all your home loans and insurance needs. That would be a very good, interesting discussion. Jason Kuray is based here in New Zealand, in Tauranga. He is very helpful. He offered something na, you know, I cannot thank him enough. Siya yung nagbumuo ng mga ito. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Maraming salamat for letting me share, for letting me serve you tonight. So remember to like and give your feedback down there, like and share and give your comment. Let me know what you want to discuss in the future. So until next Tuesday, with my Unshackled team, Jason and Kath, thank you so much. God bless.